All right, YouTube world, coming back at you from the RedEyeLoft. Tonight I'm making this video for a certain individual out there that I've been texting and talking to on a regular basis here lately. And that individual constantly posts videos and he will post remarks about pox, on how pox is spread by mosquitoes and having a problem with raising his young, his babies, at a certain time of the year. Now, let's face it, folks. We've all possibly have had pox in our loft at some time or another. And tonight's video, I'm going to focus on pigeon pox. Now, look what I have here, folks. I have a book that was written by a veterinarian. The veterinarian's name is Dr. Colin Walker. A very good book, written by a doctor. This is a veterinarian that has been all over the world and has pretty much written down all his information in this book. The best book you'll ever buy is right here, this veterinarian book. I've been fortunate. I've been having this book for several years now, and it's been put to good use, and it's come to my attention that all this time, when I thought I knew something about pox, I didn't know anything. So folks, while you're out there, you have to educate yourself on the pox. Now, let's talk about the pox here for a second. We all may have experienced the pox in our loft at one time or another. And if you tell me you've never experienced pox in your loft, I'm going to call you a liar. Because if you don't vaccinate your birds, if you don't inoculate them, you will have carriers in your loft of the virus, and it will spread from pigeon to pigeon through a mosquito. So, this video, I had to make this video. I just had to make this video because there's an individual out there that I know personally has been doing a lot of work around his loft, and he has water problems during rainy season and so on, and he constantly is battling the mosquitoes, and he has lost many young due to mosquitoes spreading the pox virus. Now, just to tell you a little bit about the pox is basically a viral infection. A viral infection like the herpes virus, like the circle virus, the chlamydia, salmonella. All these common diseases, such as canker, are spread from pigeon to pigeon if you do not take care of your pigeons in the way that you should. Meaning, if you have to vaccinate your birds at least twice a year. If you have a small team, you can do it. If you have large amounts of pigeons, I know it's overwhelming and it's hard to vaccinate all your birds twice a year. But at least if you do it once a year, at least you're ahead of the game. And you can beat some of these viruses and bacteria and diseases that pigeons get. So, let's start out reading what's in the book here. Pigeon pox. So for those out there that don't know what pigeon pox is, I will show you a sample a picture of what pigeon pox is all about. It's a virus, and the pigeon pox is caused by a pox virus causing the development of dry crusty vesicles on the skin of the pigeons, and yellow cheesy plaques in the mouth. And I'm gonna show you some of these pictures. They have some pictures in here that will tell you what pox is. The disease is usually regarded as a mild one, with the birds usually displaying mild or no symptoms of symptomatic disease. So, in old birds, if you don't inoculate your birds, if you don't vaccinate them, if you don't inoculate them for pox, and they have it, now they become carriers. And you can best bet that in the future, you will have pox in your loft, spreading to the younger birds that you're raising. And it starts all in the nest. Now, as you can see in this book, there are a number of pox virus strains that vary in their potential to cause disease, with most strains causing only small vesicles formation. In fact, most clinical affected birds are infected by escaped vaccine strains of the virus. Some strains, however, can cause severe soft tissue damage, leading to deformity of the eyelids and or the tongue, or loss of sections or the entire beak. For the average pigeon fancier, however, pox is more a disease of inconvenience than one through which birds may be lost. Now, birds may be lost when they're young in the nest. Like that one individual that I've been talking to, he has lost many birds in the nest. He has displayed some birds in his videos with pox, the virus, on the beak, or on its head, or on its face, or on its eyes. Here you can see that this one is an adult bird and it has pox around the eyelid. If you read that right there, 2 vaccine strain pox vesicles on the eyelids of a non-vaccinated pigeon that has been pecked by a recently vaccinated bird. Meaning, imagine that you take a pigeon that's not been vaccinated. This is the pigeon that's not vaccinated. You have a pigeon that you just got done vaccinating, and after it takes its course, I believe it's 7 to 14 days, 14 days of being vaccinated, that pigeon can spread within that time frame to other birds the pox vaccine, pox virus, if you don't vaccinate that bird, such as this one in this picture. Now, for that individual watching my videos, I'm just trying to help you out. I'm not trying to say that you have horrible pigeons in your loft. I'm not saying that you don't keep your loft clean. I'm not saying that you don't know what you're talking about. I just want to educate you a little bit more on what pox is all about. Yeah, you got one part right. Pox virus can be spread by mosquitoes or other blood-sucking insects. They can also transmit the disease, but can usually only gain access to the unfeathered parts of the body and so cause lesions around the head and on the legs. Mites also can spread the virus and cause lesions to develop on the feathered parts of the body. So there you have it, folks. Pox is a virus that's in the pigeon and can be spread pigeon to pigeon. It can be spread in the water. It can be spread by an insect bite. It can be spread by mosquitoes. And that's what you have to know. That the bottom line is this: if you don't vaccinate your birds, if you don't pox your birds, that is the outcome. And I've had pox in my loft, but I've learned over the years to deal with it and curve the virus. So therefore, I not only vaccinate and pox my birds, but I also use other supplements and other ingredients to help curve viruses. For example, Ecotonic. You can't just use this once and say, it doesn't work. You have to use it multiple times throughout the year. And I have. All year long for 2020, I've been giving this to my birds all year long. And it gives you the instructions there, how to administer dosages. And if you read right here, it's all natural. This product has been proven through years of field testing to be extremely effective in the helping to prevent a myriad of diseases, from viruses like adeno, herpes, circo, to bacterial infections like E. coli, salmonella, even canker and coccidiosis, if used regularly. And what does that tell you, folks? You can curve a lot of these viruses that are out there causing havoc in your loft and hurting your pigeons. So if you clean your loft, you give the birds clean water, clean feed, why not take the extra steps to giving them supplements like this to curb some of those problems you may encounter in your loft? Now, here's another product, Adeno Plus. We all know that young bird season's around. In the homer flyers, I've seen birds with adenovirus hit the young birds and sometimes wipe them out. It never used to hit the old birds. Now they're finding out that it's not only affecting the young birds, but it's affecting the older birds too. Your breeders, your birds that you've been flying around your loft for years. That's the problem. So I went out, talked to the gentleman that owns Seagulls Pigeon Supply, and he advised me that in this day and age, if you're not giving your birds extra supplements, extra stuff to prevent any kind of diseases or viruses or bacteria in your loft, then you're foolish. Check this out. Read that. This product can be used as an immune booster against most forms of adenovirus and several forms of circovirus. So, there you have it, folks. Look at all that stuff that's clinically been proven right here. Positive effects on all these viruses, including circo, herpes, HIV, parvo, and PMV. And I PMV my birds every year. So, I go the extra mile to take care of my pigeons. And I'm not saying if you can't afford it, that's one thing. But if you can afford it and you tell me you have lots of money, then do it. Don't just talk about it, do it. Treat your birds. Take care of your birds so they can look healthy. Like this copper right here. This is my Godzilla bloodline right here. I'm going to be working next year. I'm going to try to breed a bunch of these. This guy's one of my flyers here in my loft. He flies well. And back to the pox. So, for those out there watching, I hope I don't bore you with this video, but I feel like this is a must. This is something that we need to talk about. And here's some of the examples that shows you what pox can do to your bird. Imagine that pigeon right there. You would have to call that pigeon. That pigeon's alive. It pretty much lost his upper face, upper beak. See that? Here's a baby. This is what you mainly see in people's lofts. Around the beak area, around the eye area. You'll see it on its feet sometimes. They'll get pox. Okay? And what does that say right there? Pigeon pox is controlled through vaccination. So, if you don't vaccinate your birds, you cannot control the pox. Sometimes when you think you have it under control, it'll surface, it'll come back, and you have problems in the loft. So, I recommend everyone out there vaccinate your birds. That's the only way you're going to get ahead of the game here. I have a couple of earmarked pages here. Let me see. There's something else I wanted to talk about in this book. It's a great book. Respiratory. That same individual has a respiratory problem in his loft. And we've all been there. If you fly pigeons, especially here in Florida, with the humidity being so high, we find that everything stays damp and wet, and it causes problems in your loft. So, again, folks, treat your birds for respiratory. Treat your birds for canker. Look at the bird. Study your birds. Get the book. Learn something. You'll be ahead of the game. This even talks about panting in the respiratory system of the bird and how it affects the birds. It explains panting to keep cool. Panting if you have a disease in your loft. This book right here is worth every penny. It has a lot of photographs, has a lot of great information on how to take care of your birds, how to diagnose your bird, and it even shows you pictures and diagrams of the things that you should be looking for in your loft. So, I'm just touching a little bit about the pox. We can go on and on and on about the pox. We can spend a whole hour. But I'm just going to try to keep this under 30 minutes on why I feel it's important to pox your birds every year, regardless of whether you think you need it or not. You introduce another pigeon into your loft and it has pox, you can bet that it'll spread throughout your loft. And you don't want that. So, for those out there watching my videos, like always, thank you. Thank you for liking my videos. Thank you for subscribing to my page. And for that one individual watching this video, I know he's gonna watch it. Hey, you can give me a thumbs up or you can give me a thumbs down. It doesn't matter. In the end, if you don't have the proper uh, techniques in your loft to maintain a healthy loft, then you have failed in every which way that you can think of. You failed, because when you tell me you love your birds, I love them too. But let's see you go take your skills, bump it up a little bit, the extra mile. You know, do not. I refuse to stay at a standard level. I want to educate myself. Being a standard level is one thing, but when you sit there and you display substandard techniques, substandard handling skills, then you have failed all the way around. And being in the featherhood, I find that we can all help out each other, and that's what we need to do. Help out each other in every which way. Share the knowledge, share the information. You know, don't act like you know it all. Tell me you know something, show me something. But when you speak and you know nothing of what you're speaking of, then you fail. Look at this. This is pretty bad. That's the couple of different diseases in the birds here, and it gives you pictures. Look at this. You cannot go wrong purchasing this book. This book was written by Dr. Colin Walker. Colin Walker. Don't miss out on it, folks. Go get the book. I know I got the book. It's an expensive book. It's about $125, but it'll be the best $125 you've ever spent. And I'm telling you, it tells you how to check your birds, the head, the throat, everything you can think of. It talks about loft ventilation. It talks about training. It talks about cleanliness of the loft. It talks about feathering of the birds, the feet of the birds, what they look like, what they should look like. Looking down the bird's throat, that yellow, cheesy, yellowish substance in there, that's not good. That's a young bird. It has a problem there, canker problem. That's canker. Shows you what levels of canker there is here. So, folks, get the book, educate yourself, learn like I have over the years, and this is the only way you're gonna master the hobby and keep it going in the best possible way. And for that gentleman out there, I hope you watch my video. I hope you give me a thumbs up. I'm just telling you, you need to read up on that pox. It's on the internet. Read up on it. Don't take my word for it. Just read up on it. But what you think in your mind that if you remove water from your loft area and you keep the mosquitoes down, that's going to solve your problem. That's partial, but not all of it. You need to do certain things around your loft, like vaccinate, and you need to start giving stuff like this to prevent any other type of bacterial viruses to come out. So for those out there watching, thank you. I'm off this.